In this video, we're going to take a look at why Google.com or any website, when you type it in by name, doesn't actually exist. So how's that even possible? Well, we take for granted every day the fact that we can just punch in a website name and go directly to that website. We usually do it without giving it a second thought. Now wait, if that's the case, then why doesn't Google.com exist if I can just type it in and get there? Well, what if I told you you didn't actually go to Google.com when you type in Google.com? You might be asking then, where do I go? The magical device known as the DNS, which stands for the Domain Name Server, also known as the Domain Name System Server. So what in the world is that? Well, there are DNS servers located all over the world. Now, there are 13 main root DNS servers, and they have several more servers for each one. And these are like a giant phone book that holds the actual addresses of URLs. Now, URL is a website address like www.google.com or any other website that you type in probably on a daily basis. Now, there are several steps involved that take approximately a second or less to get you to where you want to go. Now, it sounds a little complex, but it's very, very easy to understand. So let's briefly talk about IP addresses so we can understand what the DNS is actually doing. Now, we're going to be using the command prompt and ping to do this so we can take a look at Google.com's IP address. So when we talk about the DNS, we know what it's actually looking for. So let's switch over and do that now. Here's our command prompt. I can find the IP address of any website by using the command ping. So I just simply type in ping, and you want to spell it correctly, and then the name of the website, google.com. Now, I'm going to send 4 packets of data, or the computer is going to send 4 packets of data, and make sure that it gets a response. This will help us make sure the website is live and that it actually exists. So you can see right here, we have sent 4 packets of data to Google, or 142.250.105.138. That's where it's actually going. And then we're making sure we're getting a response. So we can see here, there were 4 packets sent. The website received 4 of them, and we didn't have any packet loss. We can also see how much time it took. It took a minimum of 30 milliseconds. The maximum packet was 34 milliseconds for an average response time of 32 milliseconds. But this IP address that Google has, how does my computer know to get there? We don't have enough information to store every single IP address in the world. And what about new websites that pop up every day? Our computers don't magically have that. So let's switch back over and talk more about the DNS and how those IP addresses actually play a role in getting you to where you want to go. So when you're traversing to a website, you go on the hunt. And the first thing the computer does, or hunts for, when you enter a website is to look on the local DNS cache to see if the IP address is stored for the website. So it looks on your computer and says, hey, do we have the IP address for that website? If it's on the computer, then it knows where to go, and your computer waits for a response from the website. Now, if not, the computer sends a DNS request to a DNS server. Now, this is usually sent from your internet service provider or other DNS resolver. So you don't directly connect to the DNS. That's going to go through your internet service provider. Now, the DNS looks for the IP address of the website URL that you typed in. So it goes through its phone book. It's looking for the website. It says, oh, you're trying to go Google.com. I'm going to find the IP address for you. Please wait here. Now, if it doesn't have it and it's flipping through the phone book and it can't find it, then it will contact another DNS server to get the IP address. Now, the IP address is sent back to the original DNS resolver, and here it is cached and stored for future use. Now, how long does it stay on the server that didn't have it? Well, it keeps it for what is known as a time to live value. When this value is met, it will need to get the information again because that information is erased. Now, it sends the IP address back to your computer so you can communicate with the server that actually hosts the website. So you're not going to Google.com or any other website for that matter. What you're actually going to is the IP address. Now, you don't have a direct path. you don't have a direct connection to google.com or any other website. There's not a cord going from your house all the way to google.com. Now, your data travels through lots of nodes to get to where it needs to go. You can run what is known as a trace route, which will show you where your data actually goes as you go to a website. So let's take a look at how to do that now so you can actually see where your information is left as you traverse to various websites and be impressed by how quickly it happens. Let's run a trace route now for google.com. Now we're back over to our command prompt and we can simply run a trace route. So we type in trace RT and then the website that we want to go to. So we want to go to google.com. When I hit enter, you can see all the different places your information goes. And this is what is known as a hop. So it's recording all the IP addresses that you're going to be going to. Now I have blocked out mine. This IP address right here is the IP address of Google, and that's where it's going. And then down here you can see my internet service provider, which is Frontier, and then it's going to send out its information to where it wants to go. So this is the exit point for Frontier, and then it's going to various websites. Now, if it's already on my computer, which it is because I went to Google earlier today to do various things, so I don't need to go to the DNS server. But these are all the different places that it goes. And it's going to run a little slower because it's recording all this information. It's recording, okay, where are you going? Where is it leaving from? Where is it going to next? So it's pulling all that information, and that's why it's going to take a little bit of time to actually get to 173.194.219.101. Here we can see it's starting to time out. So it's trying to get a request, but it's timing out. But you can feel free to run trace routes anytime you want on any website you want, and you can see where all your information is going. So that is how a trace route actually works, and it'll do a maximum of 30 hops, which is 30 pieces of information. So let's switch back over. Let's summarize this up and close out this video. So we've learned about the DNS, ping, trace routes, and IP addresses, and how website names aren't where you're actually going. You're going to their IP address. I got this image from howstuffworks.com. Well, actually I got it from the IP address of where the image is hosted because howstuffworks.com doesn't actually exist. My computer doesn't go there. But anyway, let's go ahead and summarize this up. So your computer's going to send information to a DNS server, usually through your internet service provider. So it says, hey, I need directions to howstuffworks.com. You don't go directly to that server. You go to the DNS. The DNS is going to look for it. If it finds it, it's going to send that information back to your computer. If it doesn't have it, it's going to say, okay, hold on, let me contact another DNS server and get what you need. So it sends that information to another DNS server if it needs to. It looks through its phone book, finds the address and says, hey, I have it. Here you go. It sends it back to the original DNS server. The DNS server says, okay, thanks a lot. And we go ahead and cache that. And that information is going to stay on, determined by the time to live value. Once that value is met, the information is going to be erased, that is cached, and then that DNS server will need to contact another one later on if it needs that information again. But once it has the IP address that you need, it will send it back to you. Your computer says, you know, thanks a lot for those directions. I now know where I'm going, and then it will connect you to the server where you're looking for a website, web page, or any data that you are trying to access. Hope you guys found this video interesting and helpful. If it did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to help the channel grow. And we'll see you guys in the next computer science video.